Digimon Fusion is the last season to get an English dub, and with that, of course, there has to come some name changes. This season is a little bit different with how I'm going to deal with the name changes because in this case it mostly just has fusion forms and not actual evolutions. There are some, but very small amount in the anime. So for example, for Shoutmon, I will only be doing his main forms, so Shoutmon times 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. And I will also do his evolution as well. And I also will be talking about only Shoutmon and Mikey just because Digimon like Ballistamon, Darulamon are more or less not his main partners because he does get Shoutmon at the start. For Christopher, it will be the same where I just talk about Greymon, his fusion form, and his evolution. And I will only really be covering Sparrowmon for Nene because again, that's her main Digimon. But other than that, let's get into the video. And Digimon Fusion is another season that also had a name change. So in Japanese, it's known as Cross Force, and Cross is spelled X-R-O-S. Along with that, the term used for fusion and evolution is also different, where in the case of fusing, it's known as Digicross in the sub, and in the dub, it's known as Digifuse. For evolution, the term is Super Evolution, and in the dub, it's known as just normal evolution. Another really small change had to be related to the name of the fusions, and in the Japanese version it goes with cross, so it'd be say Shoutmon Cross 3, but in the English version it's Shoutmon times 3, so you can kind of wrap your head around that. But enough of that, and let's get into the protagonists of the series, Mikey and Shoutmon. Mikey does have a name change here where his Japanese name is Taiki. Shoutmon doesn't have a name change with him, but his moves do. Soul Crusher can be called Bellow Blasters, or it can be called the original name in the dub. Rock Damashi can be called Fiery Fastball or Rock Spirit, and finally, Rally Walker can be called Rock and Roller in its English version. Now moving on to the evolution, Omega Shoutmon, and this one does have a name change. Its English name is Omni Shoutmon, and this, along with the Japanese version, is a reference to Omnimon because I know they do meet him in the show, and I guess it's kind of a neat touch to his name. Then his moves also do change. Heavy Metal Vulcan can either go into Flame Cannon, Victorized Banking, or it can stay with its original name. Hard Rock Damashi can either go into Twin Fireball Strike, Fiery Fastball, or Hard Rock Spirit. Finally, Beat Slash can either become Doom Drill Press, Whirlwind Tunnel, or stay with the original name. Now instead of covering Shoutmon DX now, I will just go straight to covering Shoutmon's fusions. I will cover Shoutmon DX when I get to Christopher because I feel since it's half Z Greymon and half Omega Shoutmon, I feel it's just better to do it there. But with Shoutmon's fusions, let's start with times 2. And it does have a few name changes with its moves. Bunker goes into Fusion Fist, Maya Vulcan goes into Vulcan Cannonaders, and Buddy Blaster goes into Sonic Tsunami. And let me say now, with the rest of Shoutmon's forms, they don't change with their names. All of them just really change with their moves, so just, I won't repeat myself. But moving on to Shoutmon times 3, and this one has a small move change, and by small I just mean it's 1. Victorized Boomerang goes into Vumuma Boomerang, but times 4 does have quite a bit of more move changes in this case. 3 Victorized goes into V for Victory, Boiling Star Crusher can be Great Sword of Victory or Star Sword, and 3 Victorized Max Power can either become Maximum Turbo Victory Charge or V for Victory Max Power, and that's a mouthful. And this next change is exactly the same as times 3, where Victorized Boomerang goes into Varuma Boomerang, as I said before. Times 5 also does have a few changes with its moves, but it's not as long as times 4. Meteor Impact becomes Atomic Uppercut or Proton Punch, and Boiling Star Crusher becomes Earthshaker, and Laser Impact goes into either Winding Punch or Firestorm Slice. Now we move on to times 7, and if you're wondering about times 6, that never appeared in the anime, and I think it appeared in the manga, so don't really ask about that because I don't really think the manga is as canon. I don't really know much on it, so I'm assuming so. If it is, then great, I guess, but again, it never appeared in the anime, and I don't really want to have to look up a manga version because again, I think the manga is just a different story altogether than what the anime had. But with times 7, its moves do change, where Cross Boiling Knuckle can either become Ballistic Fireball or Fusion Flamethrower, 7 Victorize goes into Final Victory Blade, and 7 Victorize Maximum goes into 7 Victories. And if you're wondering about times 7 Superior mode, it basically has the same changes of times 7. Then we have Christopher and his partner Greymon. And talking about Christopher, he does have a different name in Japan, where over there he's known as Kiriha. Greymon does stay the same, but its move Blaster Tail goes into Atomic Tail in the dub. Then we have its fusion Metal Greymon. While the name does stay the same, Giga Destroyer becomes Giga Blaster in the dub. Then we also have its evolution, Z Greymon. This one does have a slight spelling change, where in the dub it's spelled Z-E-E-K, and in the sub it's spelled Z-E-K-E. Then it also does have a move change where Destroy Smasher is called Tail Gun Fire, Final Strikes can either become Final Trident Strike or Final Strike Zone, and finally Trident Fang can become Jaguar Strike. Now we move on to Shaman DX, and the name does stay the same, but it has quite a bit of move changes. Brave Beat Rock Double Cross can either become Brave Beat Rock Double Fusion or stay with the original name, but Cross is spelled how the West spells it versus how it's spelled in the show, that being X-O-O-S. And Electric Buster Cross has the same fate, where Cross, it's just spelled different depending on the language. And Trident Just Fang can either be DX Double Blade, or it could be Trident Just Fang, where in the English version, Just Fang is 2 different words, while in the Japanese version, it's just 1 word. And if you're wondering what DX stands for, it stands for Double Cross. And I think in the same thing in the English version, because DX wasn't changed, but I think that in the English version, they never really talked about what DX meant. They just called it that, so I assume not to change up much. But then we have Hypo Rock Magnum, and that can be either Magnum Blast or stay with the original name. And Victorized Banking can either become Victorized Complete or again stay with the original name. But then we move on to the final member of the group, and that has to be Spellmon and Nene. And if you're wondering why I didn't talk about Angie and Jeremy, they're just side characters, and any Digimon that they do use ended up being used by Mikey, and they only really used Darunamon, Ballistamon, and any other side members, so again, they're not really all that worthy to mention. But in terms of Nene and Spellmon only really has the changes here, and that's with its moves. Crash Boom becomes Thunder from above, Wing Edge becomes Wing Tip Laser, and Random Laser can either become Aerial Attack or Lightning Lasers. And that's all the changes with the main characters and the main partner Digimon in the show. And as I said before, this is the last name changes I will do for the hero side, as I explained in my Data Squad video, that none of them got dubbed past this point, so I can't really cover them. But what I will cover is the villain side, because they do have some changes here and there, so obviously I feel it's worthy to make a series based on them. I really do hope you guys enjoyed this series, and I hope you'll come back to watch the villain side of things. And again, I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys later.